This is going to be a video as a continuation to an Ascension Handbook by Tony Stubbs. We are on to the section on motion and how time and space play their part in motion. I just want to recap some highlights from space and time. Space, receptive fields. Also, there's some few pointers in projection and astral projection in space, such as receptive fields. Project a receptive field analogous to space into which I radiate energy units according to my intent. Also highlighted in space was vast entities are diligently thinking your three-dimensional space, maintaining it with a clarity and focus that is beyond description. For many of you, other levels of your own being are part of this. So, other levels of your spiritual being on different dimensional frequencies are also participating in holding this physical reality just glued together, and constantly see the Kabbalists say that we are just a figment of the Father's imagination, which is it's a pretty incredible thought that we're all just running around in the Father's head, that all this is just taking place in somebody's imagination. It's a pretty crazy thought. I wonder if I fart in here, if the Father's head is gonna stink. You know, just crazy thoughts like that. Good times. Let's move on to time. Oh my gosh, sorry. Just crazy thoughts up here. I am not restricted by a linear brain, but use direct cognition. Therein lies a big difference. So, time only linear, use direct cognition. So we spoke about time as think of a cicada on a big tapestry, and the lines that go vertical are time, and the lines that go horizontal are moments in time, so, or events, and the lines that go diagonal are events. That's the way it was. And picture this cicada just smack dab on it. Well, that cicada would, if he were to move upward, he would experience just the moments in your life, just briefly. Or if he were to move horizontally, he would experience all the moments in your life, or all the events in your life, all in one moment. But if he were to move diagonally, he would experience every aspect of your life as if he was a part of your life. That was go ahead and refer to the most recent video to the past. It was on time. I know it was time. So that was the coolest description of how time is. And now that we're thinking on a higher level, and we're thinking of ourselves as multiple beings just playing at different tunes, different octaves in time, different octaves in space, so multiple levels to our being. Each one is playing a part as in the now. So now that we're thinking on that kind of level, we're not just one being, we're multiple beings, but rolled into one. It takes all these beings to make up you. It's really, really interesting stuff, but to get a better overview on that, I would refer back to my last video on time. Let's move on to motion. Why not? It's the last part of this segment of section 1, and section 1 was what was the complete overview? What is energy? Was the title of section 1. So motion is the last segment of section 1. Motion. The two components of space and time lead to a third motion. To move between 2 points on the physical plane takes time. Sorry. Historically, it took months to travel between east and west coasts of America. Now it takes 6 hours. The physical plane has a theoretical limit of speed of light. At this speed, you could cross the country in a 16th of a second. But motion is a physical plane phenomenon only, and does not occur in the same way on higher planes. This is because space is a created field. Points in that field are not really separated by anything, and everything exists on top of everything else. Your scientists are puzzled about how 2 electrons in different places seem to communicate instantaneously. The reason for this is that the conscious energy that manifests a subatomic particle is not in space at all. The energy exists in the brilliant one point. That is the mind of all that is, and projects images that appear to be subatomic particles. Because the electrons are projected from the same one point, it's not surprising that each know what they are, that each know what the other is doing. Time is simply the perceived duration needed to move between 2 points, which is 0 off the physical plane, because all points coexist simultaneously. Because time is simultaneous off the physical plane, if you were an electron, i.e., spirit functioning as an electron, you could project to point A and point B at the same time. So the idea of motion between A and B has no meaning. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. If you could project yourself at A and B at the same time instead of going from A to B. Just look at yourself. Just float up above A and B and project yourself to both points, making traveling from A to B pointless. That's pretty crazy. See, there's got to be exercises in this book. I'm pretty sure there's exercises to figure all this out. And of course, when I go through an exercise, I'll be sure to label it as an exercise, and I would love everybody's input on this. And of course, I'll go through everything that's highlighted in here as far as how to do the exercise, and for astral projection especially. If we could do astral projection on a group project, that would be amazing. I hope that I've conveyed the sense that the underpinnings of the physical plane, space, time, and motion, are in fact arbitrary local laws applicable to the physical plane frequencies of Earth, and that it's your senses that create the perception of them. Sensing space and time are functions of the intellect, and were built into the brain to support the human species on this planet. They are teaching tools, just like in your schools. All students agree, usually, to assemble in one room at a particular time for a lesson on an agreed upon subject. In the same way, at the physical level, all members of the species must agree on certain things in order for the field trip to planet Earth to be meaningful. And I use the term field trip intentionally. It's important that you widen your perceptions to the point where you are aware of yourself as a vast being on a visit to this corner of the universe, who arranges little outings. Okay. Each one a physical incarnation which you put on a different body and personality to make it interesting. The outings may be pleasurable, or, if you forget who you are, unpleasant, but you certainly learn a lot on each one. I've learned a lot lot in just the 33 years I've been on this planet. In the next chapter, we go more deeply into the nature of physical matter as a standing wave of the lowest octave of energy, in order to demonstrate the fluidity of what you take for granted as solid. So that is motion. That's the end of how he describes motion. The next segment is, the next chapter is 2, and it's the nature of matter. So we're going to get into different forms of matter, such as solid, gas, vapor. Well, I guess that'd be gas. So solid, liquid, and vapor. We just go with the science basics here. So yeah, the nature of matter. This is going to be pretty awesome. I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a read, and I'll come back and we'll do this together. I'll read it out loud for everyone as well. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a real pleasure. I'm loving this book, and I hope you guys are too. Everyone have a blessed evening. Peace be upon you all.